with your son. Did you cheat on her?
I would say yes. This one, I apologize.
Yeah.
I knew you guys wouldn't save the same energy that you saved for Jasmine. I knew you wouldn't save it for someone else. Jasmine's a cheater,
I don't
but you
know
go
if
hard
he's
for
a
him.
cheater because that I can literally look over there and see it.
Don't waste your time.
Honestly, at the end of the day, I just want to move on. I mean, I know Bini wants to move on. So you're defending someone who made my life
I'm
hell.
not defending him.
Well, this is rather interesting with the upcoming Tell-All episode of part 3. And to be honest, it's about time that Bini came out and admitted the truth. But to be fair, I do side with Ari in this situation here. It is interesting how there is a double standard treatment. Do you see what I'm saying? In fact, to be honest with you, I've noticed that this season, if you dare do defend, you know, the females over the men, some people get in their feelings. Mean audience. But the reality is that Bini finally told the truth. And throughout the season, I think I was the only person that actually fell for Ari. Despite obviously their past, it was just evident that this man, in something particular, really and truly was just stringing her along throughout the resort and was unwilling to give her the answer she needed, all because he cared more for a password than he did about actually revealing the truth. So therefore, he can give Ari the closure that she deserves and needs to be able to really move on and put their relationship to dead. Now, of course, granted, people are not always privileged to getting closure. Sometimes you're just going to move on without it, but that usually is something that you do if that person is no longer in your life. But while that person is in your life, you deserve to get it, because why are you still here? And of course, we know with these two, he's going to be there purely because he is the father to their child, which makes a lot of sense. But it is a shame that it has taken this long. Personally, if I was Ari moving forward, I wouldn't look to want to manage him anymore. I would give that responsibility to somebody else. But of course, she's probably not going to do that because she probably likes the fact that she has that control over his life. But also on top of that, obviously moving on here, the thing is, throughout the whole season, each time Ari would express how she felt about her relationship with Bini and how he did her wrong, no one on the show would support her, not even the therapist. Everybody would just be like, oh, Ari just complaining. And it's interesting because there were certain times when if things went down with some of the other ladies, she'd be there to be supportive for them, but it was never reciprocated. And it's interesting because obviously now she brings that point, but this time with the men, saying, look, so when Jasmine did it, it was a big thing, but when Bini did it, it's not. And Rob had the audacity to sit there and say, well, I don't really have the proof. Come on, bruh. The man just said that the man just admitted to it. Why is the same energy not given? And this is the thing that I don't like about this show. There is always a division between who gets treated how and who doesn't. Listen, we've seen it for years on the Tell-All. There are certain people who get asked certain questions, get confronted for certain things, and then there's certain people who get asked absolutely nothing. I mean, listen, famously, we witnessed it with Angela and Michael. You know what I mean? Obviously, throughout the years of them being on the Tell-All, one was always asked more questions than the other, and there were questions that were asked that really truly wasn't as important, the ones that we needed. And this is something that we also saw moving on with Gino, Jasmine, Big Ed and Rosemary, Big Ed and Liz, you know what I mean? And so many more other couples. And it's annoying because a lot of things are problematic. I'd say the most famous one recently was the one with Brian and Ingrid. People wanted questions answered about him and his behavior, but those questions were not answered and also were not asked. And for the most part, Brian did what he did best, and that was putting most of the pressure on Ingrid and getting her being the one that was being cornered rather than himself. And we also notoriously got the same treatment with Lauren as well, where we really wanted him to be cornered and ask serious questions, but instead, nope, he was babied like a freaking baby. So this is the problem that we have with 90 Day and its cast members as well as the host itself in particular. It is all about painting a narrative of who gets supported and who doesn't, who is the villain and who isn't. And therefore that type of behavior then is influenced to some viewers, because obviously if you get people like myself who make content regarding trying our best to be a devil's advocate by giving points on both sides, people are like, well, no, that's not how it should be. Okay, well, this is the narrative that's going on the show, so this is what we want to go with, rather than opening our eyes to recognize that there is no one from the show that is a saint. Every single person in the show has their flaws, and it's important to identify every single one of them. It is not called defending anyone. It's called just pointing out, you know, obviously all aspects of yourself in particular. But either way, though, I'm happy that Ari was able to get a closure. But I'm definitely excited to see obviously how that scene obviously develops with the episode coming out obviously of the weekend. It probably won't be that much more that comes into it, but it'll be very, very interesting. And to be fair, notoriously, we've never actually seen Rob being questioned thoroughly about his relationship with Zoe when it comes to him and Sophie, and we've never really seen Sophie get questioned thoroughly neither. You know what I mean? And these are the things that frustrate us the most, and this is why we want a new host. so people are asked the right questions. You know, famously Mike, remember Mike and Himina, the man that was barely even asked most of the things that he should have been asked, and they put more pressure on her rather than him. Again, it's all about picking bloody sides. It's sad as hell. No accountability on this show. There are no adults on this show. This show is produced and hosted by freaking children, and the people that go on the show are complete bonkers, and therefore influences some viewers. But nonetheless though, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and we'll talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.